the conversation gets a lot personal. Maybe that's the reason why when we at DST decided to do Food Tales, I was just not able to connect to any story until I took a dip into my own food memories. The thought of early mornings always takes me into my childhood days, where I'm reminded of this beautiful scene of my parents sitting together at the table, giving each other a sip of tea from their cups even before drinking it themselves. I think that is a very sweet way of expressing an affection towards each other. Both my parents were working, and so this morning tea ritual would last just for a few minutes, and just in a jiffy, the whole home would turn into a hustle bustle nest with the cooker whistles on one side, the mixer grinding on the other, with Ma shuttling between 10 different things, trying to multitask at her best, and of course, Dad trying to help her out in all this. This had kind of become like a routine, everyday routine, until I started school. And then one day, Mom decided that she needed another helping hand because she wanted to spend more time with me. And thus came the entry of Miss G. That's how I love to call her, Miss G. She adapted so beautifully into our family. She just needed a little bit of hand holding and she learned our routines and our way of living. And she beautifully gelled into our family. And surprisingly, I also warmed up to her pretty soon. She had this playful, pleasant demeanor about her. I think what clicked between us was the fact that every time when Mum gave a curfew on chocolates, I as a child had a big sweet tooth. Thanks to my parents, it was a handed down gift. And yet, Ma was very particular that I don't eat chocolates every day. So every time Ma put a curfew on my chocolates, Miss G would come to my rescue and slip in few chocolates into my pocket or into my bag. So those are my beautiful memories about Miss G. Now, one fine evening, as Ma came back from work, she got me this lovely new oval-shaped steel lunchbox. I was really fascinated looking at it because it had these two containers stacked one above the other and it had two clips securing the containers on both sides. Now I am talking of way back in the 80s when I was a 5-year-old. And at that point of time, a tiffin box like this looked really fascinating. A shiny tiffin box, looked really fascinating for me as a child. As expected, the next day morning, I insisted Ma that she sends my lunch in my new tiffin box. And Mom just gave in to my request. Maybe she didn't want to put up with the early morning tantrums. So she took out this tiffin box from the cupboard and she kept it onto the table and asked Miss G to pack my lunch while Ma got me ready for school. Now this was a double whammy for me because one, it was a new lunch box, and two, Miss G was going to pack my lunch, and if she was packing, then it was sure that I was going to have a chocolate or two for lunch. And so I was really excited. I got ready and Mom took the lunchbox from the table and she put it into my bag, she zipped it and she kissed me goodbye and I left for school. I was really excited. I couldn't wait to reach school and show my new lunchbox to Kritika, my friend. That morning, the entire morning amidst classes we spent whispering about my new lunchbox, the oval-shaped lunchbox, and the possible chocolates that would be inside it, waiting to just pop out and melt into our mouths. I think that was the longest lunch break I had ever waited for. And there went the bell. So we quickly picked up our tiffin box and we walked out of the class into a small garden just outside the classroom. We got out to our favorite place, which was under the badam tree. I still clearly remember, I can still hear the rustling sound of those reddish, orangish, dried leaves lying all around the tree. We sat under the tree and I quickly took out my lunchbox. I carefully took out the clips and I picked up the first container and I looked at the second one and it was empty. I was confused. I put it aside and I took the one in my hand and I carefully opened it. And I just stared into the lunchbox and tears rolled down my face. I just sat there staring into the box with tears rolling down my face, for even that box was empty. I think more than the hunger, it was the disappointment that was hurting me at that point of time. And I just sat there, silently sobbing, looking into my lunchbox. Kritika didn't know how to handle me. She was also a 5-year-old. So she quickly opened her lunchbox and just extended it to me and she said, "Share madona ba." Which means she said, "Let's share." And I just picked up the spoon and I quickly took a spoon from her box and I mouthed it. And that, believe me, that was one of the yummiest meals I have ever had in my life. It was a very simple dish of rice mixed with greens curry with the flavor of ghee dominating the taste. I can still, as I talk about it, the taste still comes into my mouth. And those were my first lessons of gratitude. It's been so many years now, neither Ma nor I have been able to replicate that taste. And I'm not in touch with her, else I could have probably asked her for the recipe of the curry. But it's really strange as to how food gets associated with us and the roles that it plays in molding us into adults. That little gesture of kindness by Kritika taught me a very big life lesson, the lesson of empathy. And another beautiful thing is that happened to me was with this, unknowingly, I developed a habit as I grew into my adulthood and I got onto motherhood. I developed this habit that although today when I'm the one who's packing my son's lunchbox, yet before I put it into his bag, I open it once again to just check if there is food inside, just to be doubly sure of it, lest my son goes through the same experience as me. So that is the beauty of food and us. That is the beauty of the association of food and us. So this was Zaykedaar Kahani that I have for you. I hope you liked the story. And if you did, do come back next Thursday for more delectable tales, as we have many, many more tellers coming in with their favorite food tales just for you.